Tianlu received a call from a strange number during her lunch break. The man spoke aggressively. "You are Tianlu, right? Let me ask you something, is Zhao Zhong's company canteen going to be outsourced?" Tianlu's heart skipped a beat. She said, "You've got the wrong number, I don't know any Zhao Zhong." The man sneered coldly, "Don't fucking pretend. I already know you are Zhao Zhong's little mistress he's keeping outside. Should I send you a photo of you two kissing to jog your memory, huh? Ha ha ha." Tianlu instantly felt a chill down her spine. She started recording and held her phone slightly away from her ear to make sure she didn't miss anything. Then she lowered her voice and asked, "Who are you? What do you want?" The man said, "I'm Zhao Zhong's wife's cousin. Don't be afraid, I haven't told his wife about your affair yet. Here's the situation, Zhao Zhong's company canteen is going to be outsourced. I want to take over the contract. I've hinted at it a couple times, but he doesn't seem willing. I had people follow you too for a while. It looks like he treats you pretty well. Blow in his ear and get him to give me the canteen contract. As long as he does, I won't tell his wife about you too." Ha ha ha. Tianlu panicked. How could I interfere with Zhao Zhong's company matters? We never discuss his work when we're together. The man laughed mockingly. "Just a moment ago you said you didn't know him, and now you admit it?" Tianlu didn't care anymore. "I'm begging you, please don't do this to me. Even if I say something to him, what can I do? It's not even his company, he's just a contracted general manager." The man sounded even angrier. "Don't give me that bullshit. Just get this done, or I'll expose you two to his wife. My cousin is fierce, if she gets her hands on you, you'll be skinned alive." Tianlu was on the verge of tears. This was insane. She pleaded, "Zhao Zhong, just give in to him, don't let him make trouble, alright? I'm scared." Zhao Zhong patted her on the back. "Don't worry about this, I'll take care of it." Tianlu was overjoyed to hear Zhao Zhong agree so readily. She thought he must still have some feelings for her. But the very next afternoon, she received another call from the cousin. The man hurled abuse at her for over 10 minutes. Before hanging up, he said viciously, "Just you wait. Since he won't give me a good deal, I won't let you off easy either. I'm sending those photos of you two right now to my cousin. You're done for." Tianlu sat trembling, phone clutched in her hand. She never imagined Zhao Zhong would be so stubborn, refusing to compromise even with such explosive blackmail material held over him. In principle, one should not give in to threats, because that would lead to endless demands. But this was a secret affair they were talking about. What would they face next? How would Zhao Zhong handle it? What about her? Tianlu called Zhao Zhong over and over, but he never picked up. She was even more panicked now. She felt like a lonely island, with the rising tide of fear closing in to drown her from all sides. The lighthouse she hoped for flickered and went dark in the storm. 2 days later, the sword hanging over Tianlu's head fell. Zhao Zhong's wife came looking for her. Just like in those news stories where wives catch and beat up mistresses, Tianlu was dragged by the hair and thrown to the ground. People cursed at her, slapped her, ripped her clothes off as she lay there. She struggled, screamed, and begged the onlookers for help, but they only took videos with their phones. She curled up to protect herself and preserve what dignity she had left. At that moment, she regretted it all. She regretted taking the initiative when Zhao Zhong first approached her. She regretted being unable to resist temptation, being so weak and vain that she envied what others had. She could have lived a simple life, but no, she had to covet others' purses, jewels, clothes, and easily sold herself. Most of all, she regretted catching feelings in a transactional relationship. It felt like centuries passed as Tianlu waited there. Finally the police arrived. She closed her eyes, cold and in pain, trembling on the ground. Suddenly, she felt a warmth over her as someone draped a coat to cover her. In that moment, the chaotic noises faded away. The tension left her body, and the floodgates opened. She wrapped herself in the coat and broke down bawling. Tianlu was badly injured and hospitalized for a week. Much happened during that time. Videos of her being beaten spread across WeChat groups. Her parents called to disown her. Old flames came to mock her downfall and urge her to be less materialistic. The company sent someone to negotiate her termination without any severance. She expected all this. What pained her most was that from start to now, Zhao Zhong, the other party involved, had vanished as if he didn't exist. As a high-level executive, he should have attracted more attention and gossip, but he emerged completely unscathed. Only a few questioned online, "Where's the man? Why did he get off free?" But these sparked no reaction. After being discharged, Tianlu was filled with resentment and wanted to destroy everything. Zhao Zhong had long blocked her. She went to his company to confront him, only to be told by the receptionist that he was away on a long business trip to northwest China. Tianlu persisted and waited outside the company every day for half a month until she finally saw Zhao Zhong. By then she was haggard, while he remained slick as ever. Seeing Tianlu, he calmly dismissed his entourage and led her to a secluded corner, eyebrow raised. "What are you doing here?" Tianlu yelled, "You're despicable. Do you know what I've been through? How could you leave me to bear all this alone? Why didn't you shut your cousin up?" Zhao Zhong cleared his throat. "That's between me and my wife, no need to report to you." "What's your price?" Tianlu gaped in shock, trying to speak but realizing the futility. She shouted, "I want 1 million. Tianlu didn't get 1 million. Zhao Zhong wasn't about to be extorted. In the end he gave her 300,000 yuan, take it or leave it. Tianlu had no leverage against him. With no one on her side and her hatred still wrapped in love, she was weak and tired. The 300,000 was better than nothing. She had no power to resist and could only accept her loss. She started selling off her jewelry, clothes and bags, planning to leave with all her savings once everything was sorted, for a city where no one knew her. That day, Tianlu met a buyer for one of her bags. The buyer seemed to recognize her and looked at her with disdain, but it didn't stop him from haggling. The 20,000 yuan bag was slashed by more than half. Tianlu couldn't be bothered to negotiate and sold it for 10,000 yuan. On her way back, Tianlu felt thoroughly dejected. She didn't have much money to live comfortably, and would have to find a small city with lower costs of living than the big cities she craved. The smaller cities had nice scenery and nature, but likely not the level of glamour and luxury she wanted. She felt she should properly experience the city before leaving, visiting the high-end malls, museums, pedestrian streets, and towering office buildings she likely wouldn't see again. Listless, Tianlu wandered downtown on the most prosperous commercial street. She thought of the time Zhao Zhong used to bring her shopping here, and her heart ached. She went into a CAF they used to frequent and ordered a latte macchiato. She thought about sitting by the window but shrank back nervously into a corner instead. Sipping her coffee, she watched the world pass by outside. Suddenly, through the glass, she saw Zhao Zhong walking out of a luxury boutique arm in arm with a young woman. Tianlu's heart burned with fury. One glance told her everything about Zhao Zhong and that woman's relationship, their intimacy, the paper bag he carried. It was like time rewinding to when she was in the woman's place not long ago. She hated this so much. Here she was reduced to pitifully fleeing, while Zhao Zhong went about unharmed and found a replacement so quickly. Did no one care to restrain him? Why did he not need to be discreet? Why did she suffer so much while he looked even better off than before? Seized by a vengeful impulse, Tianlu immediately started recording Zhao Zhong being affectionate with the woman. Then she called Zhao Zhong's wife's cousin. On the phone, the man asked coldly, "What do you want from me?" Tianlu said, "I have a video of Zhao Zhong with another woman. I'll send it to you for free." The man asked, "What for?" Tianlu faltered. "You can send it to your cousin. Her husband is fooling around again. Aren't you mad about this as her cousin? Here's your chance for revenge." The man laughed coldly, "However much I hate him, you hate him more. Last time I threatened him, he straight up told me to expose it all, said he'd be grateful." Tianlu trembled. "Do you want the video or not?" The man sighed and chuckled, "That bastard Zhao Zhong used you like a tool, and now you want to use me like a gun. You two really shared a bed." Tianlu was struck speechless. The man leisurely continued, "Keep the video for yourself. Don't look for me again. The tide has turned. Zhao Zhong today is not the same penniless loser we could jerk around. He had to rely on us before, now we rely on him. I suggest you back off too. My cousin is terrified of him now. You know what she did after beating you up? She's trying hard to get pregnant with their second child." Ha 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 ha. Tianlu was stunned. The swollen heart fueled by hatred slowly deflated back to normal. She hung up, gulped her bitter coffee, feeling it was more bitter than any Americano she'd had. Surrounded by the harsh atmosphere, she watched the world pass by outside and teared up. This was so painful, her heart ached badly. Not because she had to flee, or was forsaken by all, or saw Zhao Zhong move on so quickly. But because she couldn't accept a man's heart could be so cruel, solely to intimidate his wife, take a stand, or warn those who displeased him, he could cast her aside like a tool, unconcerned whether she ended up in the mud or impaled on a spike. So casual, so indifferent. In his heart there was never anyone, just tools, for climbing, showing off, venting, using. In the end, some tools were discarded, like her. Some realized the truth and withdrew, like his wife. And new tools took their place, like the woman with him now. Tianlu no longer lingered. She left the city the very next day. Looking down from the plane, the sprawling city below grew smaller and smaller, the glamorous downtown condensing to a single point that exploded into desolation in her heart. She was but a drifting leaf, battered by storms.